2024 Board of Douglas County Commissioners 5:30 business meeting. There are paper copies of the agenda by the door if anyone would like them, and of course our whole packet is available online. If you've been following our budget hearings, we've had those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday mornings from 9 to noon. Part of today's budget hearing is in your agenda for today. But the rest of our agenda, starting for our business meeting, is that we have first a consent agenda, for which we have 10 items. Then we'll have general public comment. We do not have a regular agenda, any items for that, and we'll have appointments and/or commissioner miscellaneous after that. For general public comment, when we get to that point, given our limited time and the need to have orderly and efficient meeting, we apply certain rules regarding public comment. A recent Kansas federal court decision was provided additional clarity regarding standards for public comment, and we've updated our practices accordingly. We do our best to enforce those rules consistently without regard to the point of view expressed by the speaker. Each speaker will have 3 minutes of total speaking time, and of course we always accept public comment of any length in writing. Individual speakers cannot donate unused time to other speakers, and all comments must address topics within the jurisdiction of the County Commission. We will also maintain the decorum of our meeting. Therefore, we prohibit comments that are threatening, aggressively hostile, or belligerent, fighting words, slander, or speech that invades the privacy of individuals, unreasonably loud, disruptive, or repetitive, or that interrupt or substantially interfere with the board's ability to conduct county business. We do reserve the right to mute or remove any speaker who violates these public comment rules. At that time, we'd ask you to give your full name and address for our meeting minutes and address your comments to the Commission. Please know that the comments received by the Commission during our meetings do not necessarily represent the views of Douglas County government, but we value the input. We don't usually respond to general public comment on the spot, but if you leave contact information with county staff, we will try and get specific questions answered. After that, we move to our regular agenda, which today we do not have action items. And lastly, a recording of the meeting will be available on the county's YouTube page and website. So starting off with our consent agenda, commissioners, do you have any items you'd like to remove from today's consent agenda for further conversation?
Nope.
Is there anyone in the public who would like to remove an item from the consent agenda for further conversation? See no one in the room. Sarah, do we have anyone online with the hand raised? All right, thank you. With that, I would entertain a motion.
Commissioner Reed, move to approve 1.1 through 1.10.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Consent agenda passes. That does move us to general public comment. Do we have anyone in the room who would like to give general public comment? Come on up.
Okay, good evening. My name is Brent Bovee, rural Douglas County. Cash balances published in the Journal World as provided by the county are understated for end of year 21, 22, and very likely for 23. Why are the cash balances published in the LJW understated by 15.2 million in 21, 16.5 million in 22? Is there an ongoing practice of purposely understating the county's growing cash balance? This divergence in reported financials versus audited statements appears intentional and purposely misleading. And if it is truly caused by a simple mistake, then fix it and report the correct balances well ahead of the annual budget cycle. This expectation is not unreasonable. If publishing accurate cash balances is not consistently happening, then how can you expect any of us to trust you with managing county operations, holding departments accountable, and curbing excess spending? The annual budget has been inflated for several years. I say this because actual annual spend for nearly every fund has been significantly less than the inflated budget, and the result is cash hoarding by the county. For an example, as published in the Journal World for first quarter of 24, the cash balance continues to grow. Beginning balance of 142, revenues of 63 million, expenditures of almost 31 million, and ending balance at March 31 of 175 million. You've created a continuous pattern of inflating the budget, raising property taxes, and then stockpiling the excess cash when actual spending is lower than the budget. We should have received a property tax rebate by now. You've created a very large slush fund. What are you doing with it, and why do you need ever larger amounts? There should be public notice and transparent oversight on your use of this slush fund. Provide accurate cash balances, quit creating inflated budgets, and curb excessive spending. The actual annual cost by department can and would be less if fiscally responsible approaches to county government spending are enacted. Create a responsible budget and reduce the mill levy.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else who'd like to give public comment? Okay, come on up.
Yep. Name is John Ems. 812 Fox Chase Court in Lawrence. So I'm reverberating. I can hear it. I'm green. Can you hear me? All right. So here we go again. Each one of you heard taxpayers last year. Yep.
Sorry, is it on?
Now you might need to be a little closer.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Either reverb or close. Here we go again. Each one of you heard taxpayers last year point out the cycle of out-of-control spending and escalating property taxes. The public told you the increases are not sustainable for this county, city, or school district. And now you've done it again with another annual operating budget with inflated costs and significant increases in property taxes. You are without regard to the citizens who elected you. You do not listen, you do not pay attention, you're not conducting yourselves ethically. You have an ongoing practice of purposely understating the county's growing cash balance. Without any honest reconciliation, you're creating your own slush fund while you continue to increase taxes. We can only judge your future behavior by your past behavior. Commissioner Patrick Kelly, in your role with the school district, you published reading proficiency results that are significantly overstated reading proficiency versus state assessment scores. The results you presented were not even close to the same as the KSDOE. Why should anyone in the county trust you to be fiscally responsible? Commissioner Karen Wiley, with a lawsuit filed by the citizens regarding the proposed industrial solar farm north of Lawrence, there appears to be questionable conflicts of interest regarding investments in industrial and solar projects. Why should anyone in the county trust you to create a fiscally responsible operating budget? Commissioner Shannon Reed at a recent voters forum commented that not everyone is impacted in this county by higher property taxes. Quote, there are many people who rent and don't have to pay higher property taxes. On the contrary, everyone is impacted. Landlords who raise rents, renters who pay it, small businesses that increase prices to pay property tax or larger rents, consumers who pay sales tax and higher product prices. How can anyone in Douglas County trust that you are performing a detailed review of proposed budgets and holding county department heads accountable if you're not truthful regarding tax consequences? Lisa Larson suddenly in favor of lower property taxes after leading the city budget as mayor, resulting in significant tax increases and higher property taxes. A surprising turnabout. How can we trust that? I urge the county commissioners to lower the budget. You have significant overage. Quit spending recklessly and lower property taxes. We will believe in you if you stop acting recklessly. Change your behavior.
Do we have anyone else who'd like to give general public comment? Anyone else who'd like to come up?
These two gentlemen just laid it down, probably better than I could. And Patrick, if what's going on in the school district, I don't pay attention to the school district too much because I don't have kids in the school district. It doesn't really impact me. I realize you're going to take my money and just do it. But if what they're talking about in the school district is accurate and you're inflating reading scores and things like that, and that's a real ethical nightmare. And it really, if you were an attorney doing things like that against your profession, you would be disbarred. Before I get too far, Shannon, I have a difficult time with this one. I don't have a dog in the fight because I'm not a registered Democrat and refuse to register to be able to vote for anybody in the Democratic primaries. But I really do hope you beat Lisa Larson. because she's crazy. At least you're just a little nuts. What they're talking about, property tax rebates, it's absolutely necessary, especially with what the city's doing. Because the city directed them last night to bring back mill levy proposals in the 5 to 8 range, I think. And what they said about property taxes impacting everybody, I'm sorry, Shannon, but that is incorrect. That it doesn't impact everyone, it doesn't impact renters. Because as a past landlord, when you raised my property taxes, you're damn right I passed it on. Because I had a budget too. Speaking of budgets, that's really what this comes down to. You guys don't have to budget your funds like we do. You don't have to balance at the end of the month and have a little extra to get through to the next month. You don't have those struggles. You just take our money, and if you run a little low, you bring your bucket back to the spigot next year. And the citizens have kind of had enough of that. The county needs to weigh in on Lawrence Douglas County Fire Medical. I said this last night, that we have a recruiting problem with Lawrence Douglas County Fire Medical, and that's a shame. Because I've lived here long enough to remember when there was feeder departments all over this county, and I said this exact thing last night, that every volunteer fire department had a full staff of people that were doing time, volunteering, just trying to get the opportunity to apply at LDCFM. And now they're having recruiting problems. Something has gone wrong about that, and the county leaders need to fix it. The last thing I'm going to say is there was an article that hit the Lawrence Times today about the Treatment and Recovery Center relating back to Bert Nash and the treatment of people. I have a couple videos that I put out today that are close-up views of what's going on in those situations. If you don't take the time to pay attention to those, and these aren't hyperbole videos and just out there to get attention, this is what's really going on. You need to take a look at them and see what's really happening to the people out there.
Everyone else for public comment? You can come on up.
Can somebody tell me how Patrick Kelly's job at USD 497 is germane to your guys' business? You just had two speakers talk about him, the numbers on the reading there and his specific role at USD 497, and you allowed that. A couple months ago, I came in here and I brought up the same thing, that he works at USD 497. I started talking about some of the sick, perverted programs that he's brought up for these kids. And I was shut down by Shannon Reed, had my microphone turned off, and told that that isn't germane to the business of the commission. And so I said, but it's about his character. And then Shannon Reed said I was attacking his character. So why do they get to talk about it, but I don't? So speaking of all that, I want to provide an update on my lawsuit that I filed against you guys originally in January of this year against you guys and Sheriff Armbrister. And since then, as I just mentioned, there's been more incidents in March, April, and May, including a second unlawful arrest. And so we motioned to submitted an amendment request. And just today, the judge ruled on it, and I want to read that here. In the United States District Court for the District Court of Kansas, order, plaintiff Justin Speece brings this action under 42 U.S.C. 1983 against defendants Jay Armbrister, Tyler Crutzel, Jimmy Wold, Jamison Shue, Shannon Portillo, Shannon Reed, Patrick Kelly, Karen Wiley, Sarah Plinsky, and the Board of County Commissioners of Douglas County. This matter is before the court on plaintiff's motion to amend and join additional parties, which seeks leave to file a third amendment complaint and join two additional defendants, Kristen Channels and Chase Coleman. Plaintiff filed his motion to amend on May 23, 2024, attaching his proposed third amended complaint for the court's review. In its July 2nd, 2024 order, the court found that the proposed third amended complaint was in violation of Rule 8, but deferred ruling on the motion pending review of a revised proposed third complaint. On January 27th, 2024, plaintiff filed a revised proposed third amended complaint, which the court has reviewed. The court finds that the revised pleading is in compliance with the July 2nd, 2024 order. Therefore, the court grants plaintiff's motion to amend and holds that the revised proposed third amended complaint is the operative complaint. It is therefore ordered by the court that plaintiff's motion to amend and join additional parties is granted. The third amendment complaint shall be the operative complaint. It is further ordered by the court that pursuant to the Third Amendment complaint, Kristen Channels and Chase Coleman are added as defendants, and defendant Jamison Shu is dismissed. Defendant's pending motions to dismiss the Second Amendment complaint are hereby moot. It is so ordered. July 10th, 2024. Julie A. Robinson, United States District Judge.
Do we have anyone else in the room who'd like to give public comment? Do we have anyone with a hand raised online?
Yeah, we've got a few folks online. We're going to move Sherilyn Wells into the panel, and Melanie Kaufman, you have to accept the invitation to join the panel. Yep, Sherilyn, you're in the panel. If you want to come off mute, you can provide your public comment.
I know that you give the Lawrence Community Shelters some funding. I am aware that people that appear to have some kind of mental health problem are being exited from either the Pilot Village or the Lawrence Community Shelter for reasons that are not entirely clear to me. It seems to be based on some kind of speech that they have said, rather than being actually dangerous to other people living or staying there. I find this very concerning, and if the shelter cannot house people with mental health problems, we need to be thinking of some other place to put them, because it gets hot and it gets cold here. I don't know what to do about it, or someone suggested that we have people call the Disability Rights Center, but they weren't sure that that really covers shelters. If anybody has any suggestions of what I might do or say to someone, I'm open to them. Thank you.
Melanie, you're in the panel. You can come off mute and provide public comment.
Thank you. Melanie Kaufman, rural Douglas County. Good evening, commissioners. During Monday morning's budget hearing, County Administrator Plinsky said a 4 mil reduction is okay for the 2025 budget, but she wants to keep it to a 2 mil reduction because she said she is uncomfortable and did not want to come back to ask for an increase next year. Commissioner Willie, trying to compromise with 3 mils when 4 mils is adequate is unacceptable and frankly makes me a little furious. Speaking of tax hoarding, which is what it is, the county earned $1.25 million in interest in idle funds. In order to make $1.25 million in interest, you took $180 million extra from taxpayers, which we could have invested ourselves, but you took it. So you could, for example, invest and build a new building without even consulting us. It's theft. It's not being conservative. It's stealing. It's deceptive. It is a trick. There's a lot of padding for multiple departments in this budget this year. For example, hiring in anticipation of retirement. We don't do that in the private sector. They don't do it in the federal government. What do you do when someone resigns? You certainly don't pad for and double up on positions for accounting for that. So why do you do it for retirement? A $20,000 assessment incentive for the assessment office for 1 to 2 people getting a certification. How did you arrive at that number? My place of employment, which is well known to you, only has a $600 incentive for new certifications not required for the job. And finally, we are repeatedly asked not to associate our property valuations with taxes. Yet multiple times during Monday morning session, we heard that assessment valuations being referenced over and over and over again. In fact, Plinsky opened the budget hearings with, quote, assessed valuations increased by 6.89% in 2024. She said in 2024, this is an additional revenue of $5.8 million. You're counting your chickens before they're hatching. Again, Commissioner Kelly, you stated to the fire chief that it's challenging sustaining long-term if property valuations only increased by 6.8 million or 6.89%, and they were asking for 12% increases. So it's very evident that this body is tying property valuations to tax rates. And please don't tell us otherwise. Thank you.
Do we have others online with hands raised?
We do not.
Okay, with that, we'll close general public comment and bring it back to the commission. We don't have this evening regular agenda items. I would like to cover some of our schedule for budgets. We've had 3 days of budget hearings. It's when we get a chance to hear from departments and community partners, ask questions. No deliberation happens at that time. That actually will start on Friday morning. So Friday, Monday, Tuesday is when the commission then weighs in on potential options for the budget. With that, do we have any appointments that we are doing this evening?
I don't think I have any pressing or pending appointments for you.
I have one in the works, but I don't have a final on that. And then Sarah, can you get us to your memo?
Thanks, Commissioners. My memo is attached to the packet. As Jill mentioned earlier this week, there is a special meeting of the Lawrence Community Shelter Board. And everyone's invited to attend and or listen in on that conversation. So that information is included. We have another drug court graduation coming up. And so there's several dates there that commissioners might be interested in. Also attached is an updated memorandum from staff about opioid settlement funds and eligible options for spending those. You've also got some updated materials from the Register of Deeds Office, the Economic Development Corporation, and Public Health. Just want to remind commissioners that we, in addition to meeting on budget on Friday and next possibly Monday and Tuesday, so we will not have a county commission meeting at 5:30 on July 17th. Then we will meet again on the 24th and 31st. And then I do not have work sessions though scheduled for the 24th and 31st. And we did put some updated appointments, vacant positions coming up in the memo. And that is all I have for you, commissioners.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have anything else? Okay. If not, we are adjourned for our business meeting, and we will see each other and the public again on Friday morning at 9 a.m. Thank you all.